God is just so great. He knew that we would be here today. He knew before the beginning of the world that we were going to be here all together today. Isn't that awesome? He knew us before we were in our mother's womb. Everybody has one. Everybody has a mother. And some are blessed to be mothers. Some have bared their children in their womb. But some have become mothers by adoption or by just taking a child when they're growing up under their wing. And I'm sure, looking at all the faces here, that you guys have experienced this in your lives. And what a wonderful thing. The only thing I think that might be a little bit better is being a grandma. And I'm a grandma 5 times, and I just love my grandchildren. They're just so awesome. And of course, I had 2 boys, and I'm a mom. And God blessed me with that. And you know, it wasn't always easy going. I admire mothers that stay home and take care of the children and are doing it 24/7 like most of you did, right? You stood at home and you took care of those children and you cooked and you cleaned and you washed those clothes. I know where you live in. Oh, hallelujah. We are all in this together. We are women of purpose. We can touch each other's lives even as we are in this time in our life. We can touch others' lives. You can touch one another as you hear living in their home, and those that are visiting, you can continue to touch those you love that are here. And it's just a feeling that is so warm. People say warm and fuzzy. It is a warm and fuzzy feeling, but it doesn't go away like that. It's deeper than that. God made mothers to be a foundation for their children. He made them to be a strong foundation, whether it's their children or someone that you've taken under your wing. I meet this young man quite often. He is one of my children. He started coming to my house when he was this high. And he's been through so much. And he would say, Mom, I know you've been praying for me. I've been through so much stuff he put himself through. You know where I'm coming from, huh? The kids do this sometimes. We, as children ourselves, we were in a place sometimes that we didn't do what Mom or Dad said, right? No, not y'all. Come on. Come on. But we know that we have this unconditional love. And mothers especially have this unconditional love that they can love their children through anything. Anything. I mean, it can be the worst thing you could possibly think of, but you can love your children through that. And you know what? When you're grandparents, you love them and you let them get away with murder, right? You let them get away with murder. But we spoil them and we send them home. God planned all of our life. We chose certain paths. I'll use this example. It's called GPS, God's Positioning System. We have a straight and narrow path to Jesus. We have a straight and narrow path. We get off that path that He's designed for us in our life, whether it be a mistake or you've been drawn off by something on the side, but you can call on the name of Jesus anytime. And that God positioning system is going to go right back, and you're going to be on that narrow path again. But God has called each one of us, everyone, to be His representative, His ambassador here on earth, to promote His kingdom. Each woman has a special design. A special design. And some men have that too. You know, they take over the mother's role sometimes because they have to. Men sometimes do what they have to do no matter what. But women, you guys are absolutely awesome. You are beyond belief. When God made a woman, they said he took a rib, but something else must have happened somewhere along the line, and it wasn't recorded in the Bible. Because we're awesome. We're so awesome. And so forgiving, so loving, so caring. And I see that with the ladies here today. You care for one another, whether you know it or not. Maybe you get a little squabble with somebody once in a while. But if something happens to that person, what do? You're right there for them. You might be praying for them. You might be just patting them on the back or just loving on them a little bit, that warm feeling that you give them. Or a smile. You ladies have the most beautiful smile. Sometimes you don't use it because it might not be a good day, but you do have a beautiful smile. That's like Lisa. She's always smiling. You can't help but smile when she's in the room. It's just the way of God saying through you, I love you, my child. I love you with an undying love. I love you as far as you can see. I have given you more than you can imagine. And I will continue to bless you all the days of your life. No matter what, I will bless you. Some days you get down and you go, oh, Jesus, Lord have mercy on me. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. He hears that. You get mad at him. He understands. Jesus came down so he could relate to us. So he could relate. And that's what he does. He relates to our mistakes. He relates to our good times and bad times. He relates to the love we have for our children because you know what? Jesus loved us unconditionally. Without a second blink or a second past in the world, he loved us. You know, what amazes me is when Jesus was on the cross, he was in the center of two thieves. One thief didn't believe in him, but the other one said, I believe in you, and I recognize you, as Jesus and Lord. And Jesus said, I will see my son in paradise today. And then he goes on and he's watching the people that killed him. And he's seeing the people that told him that they wanted to, I want to crucify him, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. And he sees all these people, all at the foot of the cross, through blood, through tears in his skin that we can't even imagine. No hurt that we have ever felt is like the hurt that Jesus bore for us. He looked down and he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Jesus is such an awesome gift that if we leave it unopened, it's a shame. So many people hear of Jesus, and he's a gift from God, but they never open it. They never accept the gift and hold it in their hands and look to see what Jesus has to offer. He has more than we can ever imagine. Who would imagine at the beginning of the world that a woman, a womb, a man would have a seed that was going to be planted? What a weird way. I wouldn't have thought of that, Might have thought of a little easier way, but hey, Jesus, God is something. And who would have thought that? But as mothers, we bore the pain, we bore the joy, we bore the kicking, we bore the heartburn, and we bore the back ache, we bore all that stuff. But it's not near what Jesus bore for us. As women of God, I liberally say, because I see the spirits of so many of you here today. And I know that you have a heart for God because you have been blessed with children or adopted children or nieces and nephews. Because sometimes the most important person in someone's life isn't the one that's right next to them. It might be the person down the street, or the auntie, or maybe a cousin. You never know. It might be a school teacher. It may be a pastor's wife. It may be a store owner. It may be a librarian. It may be someone who worked at the cafeteria that just loved on these children as they passed through the cafeteria line. Motherhood is more than just what we see at the surface. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of detail. It's a lot of love. My mom, I remember when I was a little girl, we didn't have very much money, and my mom would sew our Barbie doll. Anybody remember Barbie dolls? Okay. She would sew the Barbie doll clothes. For Christmas presents, she would make a whole wardrobe of Barbie doll clothes for me and my two sisters. She did it by hand because it was so small. You know how the Barbie doll arms are not anything that look like mine, but she'd sew them by hand. And she'd fix the little shoes and everything. She took extra time because she wanted to make it just like store-bought clothes, like the girls in my class had. But what she didn't understand was that today, I remember her making those clothes. I remember that I might not have been as excited as I should have been, but today, it means more than anything she could have ever bought me. And I'm sure some of you have experienced that. I remember a time we'd spent, she'd break up a Hershey bar into 3 pieces. I looked like I've ate more than that, and I had. But at those times, she'd break it up into 3 pieces so we could eat because that's what we had. I never knew I was not as wealthy as some of the other kids. I was blessed, but I really didn't know it. And they'd stick cotton in my shoes so they last longer. Those are the good times. And when I'd go stay at my grandmother's, she had an outhouse. And she'd boil water to take a bath. You tell kids that today and they're like, are you kidding? Are you from the Stone Age? My grandmother would boil the water, bring it out to the shed, and let us bathe in that water. And then in the summer we'd do hose baths. Those were fun. Did anybody ever take one of those? I'm sure you did. It was fun. And bathing was a lot, more interesting, wasn't it? Get a bar of soap and she throws you the soap and then she gives you the towels. All these things, I'm sure you all have your own stories. And today, I hope that you reach back into your life and you think about your mom, your aunt, your grandma, your great-grandma, your auntie, and then your children. And how you blessed those children with the love you have. And how you blessed your grandchildren with the love you have. And how you blessed your nieces and nephews and all these people that have come across your life that you have touched with the love of Jesus. That unconditional love, that grace, that forgiving power that only Jesus has. Today, it brings me so much joy to share these just few minutes with you because it makes me so appreciative of the women that have been in my life. My husband's grandmother lived with us for 5 years. What a blessing. She died 3 years ago. What a blessing. It seems like I can't turn people away. It's kind of like a selfish thing. I just want to hug them and just love them and give them everything they want because they deserve it and you deserve love. And today, I hope that in your hearts that you know that in my special way this afternoon, that I love each and every one of you, and that you have blessed me, and I only pray that I have blessed you. You have a happy Mother's Day.